OPP General Headquarters. A special thanks out to Inspector Gary Miracle for allowing us to use the aviation section facilities for this media conference as we kick off Snowmobile Safety Week. We have 3 guests that are going to be speaking this morning, and it's my pleasure to start off speaking with having Inspector Tina Meyer from the Highway Safety Division, Provincial Traffic Operations, to come with prepared remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for taking the time to join us here this morning. It gives me great pleasure to be here today with our valued partners from the Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Clubs and the Ministry of Transportation. The OFSC and Ministry of Transportation have been valued OPP public safety partners for many years. Through their ongoing leadership, expertise, and commitment, they help us keep snowmobile communities safe and promote safe, responsible riding throughout Ontario. Despite the OFSC's efforts to keep snowmobilers informed about the safest trails to ride on throughout the more than 30,000 kilometers of trails in Ontario's snowbelt, a number of snowmobilers continue to take unnecessary risks. Every year for some, those risks end up costing them their lives. The 2016-2017 season marked the highest number of snowmobile deaths in OPP jurisdictions in almost 15 years, with 27 people dying. The 2017-2018 season saw 14 deaths. While this number was significantly lower than the previous year, one snowmobile death is one too many. Sadly, we've already dealt with 6 deaths in OPP jurisdiction so far this season. 3, which is half of those deaths, involve a snowmobile traveling on unsafe ice when their snowmobile either went through the ice or entered open water. During the 2017-2018 season, 13 of the 14 deaths were from snowmobiles going through the ice or entering open water. Speeding, driving too fast for conditions, and/or alcohol were contributing factors in the other 3 deaths. We hope that there won't be any more of these senseless preventable deaths this season, but our fatality and causal factor data from past seasons tells us that some snowmobilers will continue to take unnecessary and unsafe risks that cost them their lives. One of these tragedies occurred on Christmas Day, with a man and woman dying after both of their snowmobiles went through the ice. Regardless of the circumstances that led to these people losing their lives, please try to imagine how profoundly devastating it is for their families. Our investigations into these incidents tell us that the vast majority of those who died placed themselves in a risky situation because of one or more poor decisions. With few exceptions, these poor decisions led to the majority of causes or contributing factors in snowmobile deaths every year. Every season, we see the same causes again and again. And the only thing we cannot predict from one season to the next is how many lives will be lost unnecessarily because of speeding, driving too fast for the conditions, losing control, consuming alcohol and drugs just before or while driving, riding on unsafe ice, and inattentive driving. These are all risks that can be avoided. This cannot be overstated enough when it comes to riding on frozen waterways. We continue to tell snowmobilers that no ice is safe ice. This year, we're adding some new tools for snowmobile enforcement and safety measures. We're using our aviation services and UAS unmanned aerial systems for rescue and enforcement. Aviation support is an effective tool in a number of situations, such as speed enforcement, search and rescue, and detecting dangerous snowmobile operations. UAS support is another valuable resource at snowmobile collision scenes, for search and rescue, and for accessing locations that are inaccessible by other means. With the introduction of Bill C-46, motorized snow vehicles are now subject to the same mandatory alcohol screening that drivers of other motor vehicles are. This tool will be used during OPP riding initiatives and enforcement in snowmobile communities. We are reminding snowmobilers that mandatory alcohol screening allows an officer to make a demand for a breath sample from snowmobile operators even when the officer has no suspicion that the operator has consumed alcohol. It is mandatory for all drivers to Doing so can lead to an impaired driving charge. The OPP would rather not lay these charges and instead would like to see every snowmobiler ride drug-free and sober. The OPP remains committed to ensuring Ontario roads and trails are safe from alcohol and drug-impaired drivers. We are fortunate to have OPP SAFE team members. SAFE stands for Snowmobile ATV Investment Enforcement, as well as detachment and emergency personnel who sometimes place their own lives in danger to rescue snowmobilers who have gone through ice on our lakes and rivers. As part of the OPP Highway Safety Division mandate, our officers remain committed to helping us achieve our goal of reducing the number of snowmobile deaths and injuries every year. The use of OPP aviation and UAS support demonstrates our latest efforts to keep snowmobilers safe. Our commitment to saving lives is not enough. We need all snowmobilers to understand that regardless of where they are riding, the only safe ride is a risk-free ride. If every snowmobiler gets into the habit of avoiding all manners of risk, this is what will allow them to come home safely to their families. Snowmobilers have as great a role to play as anyone in keeping themselves and their passengers safe and sparing their families of having to deal with the tragic, eventful, and senseless loss of a loved one. During Snowmobile Safety Week, I encourage all snowmobilers to educate themselves about what it takes to get through the season safely. Thank you all for coming out today to help us raise awareness about this important campaign in safe snowmobiling. Please always make it home safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Inspector. Our next speaker is Kinga Surma. She is a parliamentary assistant to the Ministry of Transportation, and it's my pleasure to introduce her right now with some remarks.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction, and thank you very much for having me here today. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the tremendous contributions of the OPP and the OFSC to snowmobile safety in the province. Thank you for your continued efforts and your commitment to spreading the important safety message throughout Ontario. Snowmobiling has increased in popularity as a winter activity, not just for youth and adults, but for families, rightfully so. It is a wonderful way to get outside and enjoy the winter and explore Ontario's trail network. Ontario's 32,000 kilometers of snowmobile trails are a premier destination for locals and tourists alike. But it's important to remember that, just like any other kind of vehicle, operating a snowmobile requires good judgment and responsible behavior. Every winter we see tragic incidents, people killed going through ice in collisions involving drugs and alcohol. These deaths are preventable. Stay off unsafe ice, obey speed limits, and ride sober. Remember that driving in Ontario is a privilege and not a right. And remember too that Ontario's road safety laws and our increasingly tough penalties also apply to snowmobiles. Road safety of all kinds is a top priority for our government. And we know a lot of it comes down to proper education and training, especially from a young age. With more trails and more riders than ever, we must continue to make sure our riders are safe and up to date with the latest safety regulations. That's why this past fall, we announced that snowmobile safety training will be made available online soon. Online learning will allow for better access to safety training for those in rural and remote communities. These courses will meet the needs of our young riders who are the future of snowmobiling in this great province. I know staff at the Ministry of Transportation have been working closely with the OFSC to get that online training in place as soon as possible. Of course, all the training in the world can only go so far. Ultimately, it comes down to good decisions. And that's why we are here today, to remind everyone that a little good judgment can be the difference between life and death. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Linda. With all the equipment that we have here in front of us for enforcement and the laws that are in place to keep us safe, we also have advocates and people out there that are actually on the trails every single day. And I want to introduce Ryan Eichmeyer. He's the Executive Director of the OFSC. Hope I got that name right. Come forward with some remarks.
Thank you and good morning. On behalf of our 196 clubs, thousands of volunteers and landowners, our OEM partners, Textron, Artcat, PRP, Ski-Doo, Polaris Industries, and Yamaha Motor Corporation, and nearly 90,000 annual permit buyers, I'm very pleased to bring you March String International Snowmobile Safety. Safety is a shared responsibility for every snowmobiler on the more than 30,000 kilometers of prescribed snowmobile trails in Ontario. OFSC prescribed snowmobile trails are subject to laws under the Motorized Snow Vehicle Act, and as a snowmobiler in Ontario, you are responsible to know and understand. In addition to knowing the laws, there are helpful tips and best practices to ensure the safest ride possible for you and your family. From trailering tips to riding at night, to ice travel, to what you should carry with you at all times, the Go Safe Ride Guide is full of information to help you learn the basics or refresher skills. Go to ofsc.on.ca, click on Go Safe to learn more. Snowmobilers should be aware that no ice is safe ice, only travel on safe trails, always stay to the right of the trail. Be cautious and on the lookout for groovers. Operate with appropriate care and control at all times. Ride within your limit, and expect the unexpected in an unpredictable natural environment. Weather conditions can and do change without notice, so be prepared. And finally, check the interactive trail guide and local ice conditions before you go. The interactive trail guide is Ontario's only province-wide snowmobile trail reference, which provides real-time trail status and information on trail accessible services, fuel, and other points of interest. A free web-based version is available to all riders, as well as a subscription-based mobile application. The Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Clubs is proud of our long-standing partnership with the Ontario Provincial Police and commends them for their continued dedication to ensuring our trails remain safe and welcoming to riders of all experience levels. The OPP's coordination with local snowmobile clubs helps ensure enforcement resources are going to the right trails at the right time and in the right place. Whether it is enforcement of speed, impairment, dangerous driving, or noise complaints, these efforts are intended to get everyone home safely to their families. As well, the use of new technologies like aviation assets that you see behind me to patrol the trails is a welcome addition and should serve as a key critical deterrent. I also want to acknowledge and thank the Government of Ontario, particularly the Ministry of Transportation and Minister Jeff Murray, represented today by his Parliamentary Assistant, Kinga Sherman. As a service delivery partner, their unwavering support for organized snowmobiling in the province of Ontario helps ensure that we remain both a safe and premier world-class destination for snowmobiling. On behalf of the Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Clubs, I want to thank all of our law enforcement partners and government partners across the province who help ensure everyone goes safe when they go snowmobiling in Ontario. Thank you.
Thank you for those words, everybody. There's some information here beside us. You can see the dangers of ice thickness. We've had some brutal cold over the last couple of days, but still we need to be aware that no ice is safe ice. And if you want some information about ice thicknesses, come speak to us afterwards. I do want to play a video that we're going to show right now. If you want to just direct your attention to the television screen, and then at the end of that, we'll have an opportunity for some questions and answers to any of the members that spoke this morning. Obviously, snowmobile safety is everyone's responsibility. As a rider out there, we want everyone making the right decisions. Distracted riding, impaired riding, aggressive riding are all contributing factors in these potential collisions, just as they are on the highways. If anyone has questions for any of the members here, we'd be happy to answer them now.